Ladies and gentlemen, what do you do when your empire is crumbling? Your secrets are spilling out faster than your lawyers can send cease and desists, and the feds have you in a chokehold tighter than your last record deal. If you're Sean Diddy Combs, you do what any desperate mogul drowning in scandals would do: you write a check. Not for 10,000. Not for $1 million, but for a jaw-dropping, eyebrow-raising, soul-selling $100 million. That's right, the whispers bouncing off courtroom walls and backroom corridors are all saying the same thing. Diddy allegedly tried to buy his way out of prison. $100 million. Cold, hard, cash. A get-out-of-jail offer that, according to sources with way too much access, was flat-out rejected by the feds. Rejected, as in, thanks, but no thanks, we're not for sale. And now, everything's unraveling. Because if Diddy thought he could just slide a fat envelope across the table and make this all go away, he was dead wrong. You have to ask yourself, what kind of storm is brewing behind those closed courtroom doors that made the US government turn down the kind of money that could fund a small country? Is it because they want justice? Or is it because what they've uncovered is bigger than we ever imagined? If Diddy's throwing money at walls, hoping they'll hold up, then what is he trying to stop from crashing down? Buckle up, because this story isn't just about a fallen icon trying to save himself, it's about power, corruption, dirty secrets, and a man who may have finally run out of favors. And let's be clear, if they're rejecting $100 million, something truly dangerous is on the other side of that offer. You ever heard of someone trying to buy their way out of handcuffs with $100 million? No? Well, buckle up, because Diddy just tried it, and the feds said, nah, we good. In a move that sounds more like a deleted scene from Scandal than real life. Insiders are saying the hip-hop mogul, formerly known as Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Brother Love or whatever he's calling himself this month, actually tried to throw a $100 million Hail Mary at the Department of Justice to walk free, and guess what? They laughed in his face. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the wildest courtroom drama money couldn't buy. Let's rewind. Because this isn't just about bribery. This is about desperation, cover-ups, and a crumbling empire built on bad boy dreams and NDA nightmares. Diddy, whose net worth has long been debated somewhere between billionaire and broke, depending on which side of the lawsuit you're standing on, is officially spiraling. Sources close to the case are leaking faster than his former artists' contracts, and what's coming out is pure chaos. Apparently, after realizing he was not going to beat these charges the traditional way, Diddy allegedly made a covert offer to federal agents and under-the-table, no-names, wire-it-to-and-offshore- account style payout to the tune of $100 million. $100 million. For his freedom. Now I know what you're thinking. Is that even legal? Of course not. But has that ever stopped him before? This isn't some parking ticket. Diddy is knee-deep in investigations involving drug trafficking, sex trafficking, racketeering, and allegedly operating what one anonymous FBI agent described as an elite-level cult of silence and seduction. Think less Coachella, more cartel in Versace. And when the walls started closing in, that's when the offer was made. Insiders claim the deal was presented through a third-party intermediary, a former entertainment attorney turned fixer known only as Mr. H. Mr. H allegedly contacted a known federal informant with connections to the case and delivered a message. The boss is willing to pay for this to disappear. Name the price. The response. A formal complaint was filed, and suddenly, the feds weren't just investigating Diddy, they were watching his every move. Now let's talk timing. This so-called bribe attempt came just days after a sealed raid on one of Diddy's private estates turned up some very questionable footage, surveillance hard drives, burner phones, and one alleged secret room that's been described by insiders as a pleasure vault, not a wine vault, not a panic room, a pleasure vault, velvet walls, biometric locks, and a coded logbook with initials no one wants to claim. What was inside? We don't know yet, but rumor has it, that's when Diddy panicked. And here's the part that has social media in shambles. The day after the offer was quietly rejected, Diddy posted a black screen to Instagram with a single caption, "God sees everything." Fans thought it was cryptic, but those in the know, they say it was a veiled threat, like, if he's going down, he's taking everyone with him. Now meanwhile, behind the scenes, his legal team is allegedly melting. We're talking emergency meetings, shredded documents, frantic calls to PR firms in Switzerland. Because once the DOJ got wind of the attempted buyout, They reportedly launched a secondary probe, not just into Diddy, but into every dollar he's touched in the last 5 years. Charities, business ventures, artist contracts. Even one suspiciously generous donation to a private island cultural center that no one seems to be able to locate on Google Maps. And, let's not forget, this isn't the first time Diddy's name has been tied to hush money. From mysterious NDA settlements to that infamous hotel footage that disappeared the day before a press leak, he's made a career out of making things vanish. But this time, the money's not talking loud enough. By now, even former allies are backing away. One source close to the ROC Nation camp reportedly said, "We ain't surprised. Just disappointed he got sloppy. Ouch." Another insider who allegedly worked security for Diddy during his 2019 Black Excellence Yacht Party claims he overheard conversations about buying immunity long before any arrests were made. So this wasn't Plan B, this was the plan all along. And here's where things get truly wild. Rumors are flying that not only did the feds reject the bribe, but they recorded the entire negotiation process from the first phone call to the bank routing numbers. If that's true, this won't just be a bribery charge. This could open up a whole RICO-style Pandora's box. Wire fraud, obstruction of justice, conspiracy, the works. Now let's zoom out. Why does this matter? Because Diddy wasn't just trying to escape a prison cell, he was trying to escape accountability. This man built a legacy on fame, flash, and fear. And when it all started to crumble, his first instinct wasn't innocence, it was influence. And the scariest part, he thought it would work. And the scariest part, he thought it would work. Because for the past 2 decades, Diddy hasn't just played the game, he's rigged it. Private jets, all-access industry parties, and a Rolodex of politicians, CEOs, and entertainers who owe him favors. When you're that rich, that connected, and that feared, you start believing laws are just suggestions. That jail is for other people, that the system is something you own, not something you're under. But apparently, the feds didn't get the memo. After rejecting the alleged $100 million offer, the Department of Justice reportedly doubled down on their investigation. Subpoenas started flying like champagne bottles at a bad boy reunion, financial institutions, private jet services, fashion labels, even one luxury baby brand Diddy supposedly consulted for, were all quietly contacted. Why? Because the feds are now allegedly tracing where every cent of that $100 million was going to come from. And here's the real twist. They think it wasn't even his money. Multiple anonymous sources claim Diddy may have tried to funnel funds through offshore accounts linked to shell corporations tied to other celebrities. Yes, allegedly. Diddy was using their money to pay for his freedom. One Hollywood accountant said on Background, "If what I'm seeing is true, this wasn't a solo mission. He had silent investors expecting him to stay free, not flip." So now the case isn't just about what Diddy did, it's about who helped him cover it up. And folks, this rabbit hole goes deep. Let's talk about the Bahamas incident. According to flight records leaked by a very bored intern at a private aviation company, shout out to messy employees everywhere, Diddy's jet made a strange midnight flight just days before the bribe attempt. The destination, a private landing strip in the Bahamas known for hosting off-the-grid meetings. On board with him, 2 unnamed financial advisors, a briefcase, and allegedly a thumb drive labeled Plan D. No luggage, no entourage, just Diddy, the money guys, and a mystery file. Guess who was waiting at the airstrip? A former international banking exec with a very suspicious history of cleaning dirty accounts. One source claims that's where the deal was finalized and the $100 million was set in motion. And yet, it didn't work. Because what Diddy didn't count on was the one thing that never lies, the leak. Someone on the inside spilled everything. A whistleblower. Possibly, a jilted former employee. Maybe someone promised a cut who got cut out. Whoever it was, they came with receipts. Now Twitter, Reddit, and all the tea-spilling YouTubers are having a field day. Hashtags like #Diddy, Bribegate, #100 million mistake, and #PlanDLEAKED are trending hourly. Memes are dropping faster than legal briefs. One TikTok influencer reenacted the alleged bribe scene with a Monopoly board and plastic handcuffs. And it got 2.7 million views in under 48 hours. But it's not just jokes. There's outrage. Fans, former collaborators, and even political activists are dragging Diddy not just for the bribe, but for the arrogance behind it. One viral post read, $100 million to stay out of prison, but not a dime to help black artists you robbed in the 90s. Disgusting. Another one said, Diddy ain't trying to buy freedom, he's trying to bury the truth. And what is the truth? Because according to newly surfaced court documents, this bribery allegation is now part of a much bigger case file, one that includes surveillance footage from multiple properties, phone taps, and what one insider says are dozens of sealed witness statements. The DOJ is reportedly considering expanding the charges to include organized criminal activity. That's RICO territory. Think mafia. Think long sentences. Meanwhile, Diddy's team has gone radio silent, no public statements, no Instagram posts. Not even a cryptic love wins tweet. And when Diddy goes quiet, that's when you know the situation is critical. His inner circle, once overflowing with stylists, sycophants, and champagne-popping yes-men, is now a ghost town. Even celebrities who once clung to him for clout are distancing themselves. Remember that rapper who used to call Diddy his big bro? He unfollowed him. That singer who opened for Diddy's last tour deleted every photo with him. The producer who said Diddy taught him everything he knows just tweeted, "We all gotta be accountable someday." Now let's address the elephant in the room. Is Diddy scared? Sources close to the case say yes. In fact, insiders claim Diddy's security detail has doubled since the offer was exposed. Not just for protection from the feds, but from everyone else. Because if what people are whispering is true, that Diddy tried to drag others into his mess, using their money, then he's not just facing prison. He's facing betrayal, lawsuits, revenge. And there's another wild theory floating around, that Diddy is preparing to flip. You heard that right. Some legal experts believe Diddy may now be cooperating, giving the feds intel on bigger fish in exchange for leniency. But who's bigger than Diddy? That's the terrifying part. Because if he's the small fish, what's about to be exposed? There are whispers that sealed indictments are coming, and not just for Diddy. Names are being redacted. Contracts are being reviewed. Suddenly, lawyers for other powerful people in music, fashion, and tech are quietly requesting meetings with federal prosecutors. Why? Because when Diddy tried to buy his freedom, he may have sold everyone else out. And folks, this saga isn't slowing down. In fact, it's accelerating. We haven't even talked about the surveillance footage, the burner phones, the mystery planned USB drive that might contain the real reason Diddy panicked in the first place, and the one woman, a former assistant, who's allegedly sitting on hours of recordings from inside Diddy's inner circle. They say she's ready to talk. They say she wants immunity. They say she knows everything. And just like that, the fat Diddy empire, the shiny suits, the platinum plaques, the mogul mystique, starts to unravel thread by thread. And when the truth comes out, it might not just end a career. It might end an entire era. TV networks are quietly pulling old Diddy specials from their platforms. One major streaming service allegedly shelved an entire documentary series about hip-hop legends after learning that Diddy was featured heavily in the final episode. Internally, an exec was quoted saying, "We don't want to glorify someone who's about to be headline news for all the wrong reasons. And if you thought it was just career fallout, think again." Whispers inside Capitol Hill suggest that the Justice Department may use Diddy's case as a public example, not just about celebrity corruption, but about the failure of wealth to outrun the law. One source close to the investigation reportedly said, "This is bigger than Diddy. This is about showing America that there's no private jet fast enough to escape federal jurisdiction. The public? Oh, they're eating it up like it's a reality show with no commercial breaks." Twitter threads have turned into full-on criminal breakdowns. Fans turned digital detectives are building dossiers on Diddy's past movements, properties, business partners. Reddit sleuths are cross-referencing photos from years ago. One user even posted a side-by-side comparison of a luxury yacht docking in the Maldives, claiming it matched the same boat allegedly used to ferry offshore payments. It's a level of obsession usually reserved for murder documentaries. Meanwhile, #FreeDiddy is nowhere to be found. You know what's trending instead? #pay your way to hell. #Diddy did that. #bad boy behind bars. Even artists who once owed their careers to him are now suspiciously silent. No public defense. No support, just silence or shady likes under suspicious posts, and that says everything, because when your own industry family leaves you hanging during a storm, it's not because they don't care. It's because they don't want to go down with you. One close friend of a Bad Boy Records alum reportedly told a gossip outlet, "Everybody's scared. Not because they're guilty, but because they know how much he knows. And if he starts talking to save himself, everyone's going to need a lawyer? Yes, you read that right. There's now speculation that Diddy might flip out the man who built an empire on secrets. Now rumored to be considering spilling them just to get a reduced sentence. Because when $100 million doesn't buy your way out, sometimes all you've got left is leverage. And he has plenty. Deals, affairs, backdoor partnerships, illicit recordings, old feuds and forgotten crimes. If even a fraction of what's in that evidence cash leaks, the industry won't just be rattled, it'll be rebooted. And let's be real. You know Diddy's been preparing for this day. Some insiders say he's kept blackmail material on everyone he's ever worked with, just in case. One folder reportedly titled NDA Insurance contains documents that, quote, could start 5 federal investigations and end 10 careers. At this point, the story has stopped being about Diddy's crimes and started being about how many people are going to fall with him. And if history has taught us anything, it's that when the walls start closing in, the last man standing isn't the richest, it's the one with the most dirt. So the question now is, how much does Diddy know? And how far will he go to save himself? Stay tuned. So now we wait, not for Diddy's release, but for his next move. Will he stay silent behind bars, clinging to what's left of his reputation? Or will he crack open the vault, leak the names, spill the tapes, and burn the entire industry to the ground just to shave off a few years from his sentence? Because let's be clear, the feds didn't reject that $100 million just for fun. They rejected it because they don't want his money. They want his secrets. They want the empire, the illusion, the rot hiding under those diamond-encrusted sunglasses and fans. They want blood. They want to know which Alistairs were partying in those hidden islands. Which deals were signed under the table? Which tracks were really stolen? Which artists disappeared from the spotlight? And why? This is no longer just about one man. This is about an entire system of money, power, manipulation, and silence finally cracking wide open. So the real question is, what would you do with that kind of pressure? If you had the keys to destroy careers, ruin legacies, and expose the darkest corners of fame, would you stay loyal? Or would you turn it all into leverage and walk away clean? Drop your theories in the comments. Is Diddy the villain, the scapegoat, or just the first domino? And tell us, what do you think that $100 million really bought? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because this isn't just a story. It's the biggest game of who's next we've ever seen. And trust us, this isn't the end. This is just the prelude to the purge now that the smoke is clearing and the truth is leaking faster than Diddy's bank accounts. We have to ask, what happens next? Do the feds finally crack open the vault of secrets he's been guarding for decades? Or will the industry sweep it all under the velvet rug like they always do? Because one thing's for sure, if Diddy really offered $100 million to make it all go away, then what he's hiding must be worth 10 times that. So now it's your turn. What do you believe? Was this all a setup? Is Diddy protecting someone bigger, or is he the puppet master pulling strings from the shadows? Let's hear your wildest theories, your deepest suspicions, and your hottest takes in the comments below, because this isn't just about gossip, this is about power, legacy, and how far a man will go to keep his empire intact. Smash that like button if you love the drama. Subscribe if you want more exclusive tea they'll never show you on the news. And hit that bell, because the next name to fall might just be your favorite artist.